are rooting for your teams and for yourselves and are focused on earning the trip to Puerto Vallarta. And one of the things that I always say is that, you know, when you have a big goal in mind, sometimes the thing that stops us is actually the start, because we kind of like don't even know where to get started. And so I just wanted to walk through, you know, kind of taking a step back and realizing if there's a goal that you want to shoot for or something that you want to accomplish, it could be time to make a change for yourself. And so, just one second, got all these things popping up on my screen. You guys still see my slides? Can you still see the screen?
Hey, everybody.
Can you see it, Sabrina?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, perfect. So what can we change? So I'm going to introduce the concept of FARC with you guys today. That is FARC with an A, RC. And so I want to teach you guys this really cool concept about focusing and thinking about how to change. So if you guys can mute yourselves, somebody just answered their phone. Okay, so the F stands for focus. So if there's something that you want to change, you've got to focus on the behaviors or the habits that you want to change. Because most of us, you know, actually live our lives full of habits and patterns that are kind of ruled unconsciously by fear, actually. And until we decide that we want to focus on what change, we might not even notice it. And so, you know, people, I've heard comments of, okay, I want to earn the trip, but I don't have enough people on my team, or I don't have enough tasting events on my calendar to be able to, you know, book and sell and earn points. And so if you recognize maybe some areas within yourself and within your business maybe that aren't like your favorite part, so maybe booking tasting events isn't your favorite thing, or that's the thing that you struggle with the most, or maybe recruiting and onboarding new CEOs, maybe that's the thing that you struggle with. And those are all activities that can help you have a successful business, you know, all the time. But in addition to that, right now, even more important, helping you earn points to earn that trip to Mexico with us. So if you really, first of all, focus in on what it is that you want to change and you're very conscious of it, this decision really is your intention. And then next comes your attention to that. So once you've focused on what it is that you want to change, the next step is to become aware of the triggers or the behaviors or the fears maybe that are driving sort of the way that you operate on a regular basis. And then think about, you know, the aspect that you want to change, becoming aware of that. Because without having awareness, your attention actually might not necessarily be in the right place. Usually we react to situations before we even realize what's going on. And so you might find yourself constantly reacting in a situation a particular way. And if you kind of catch yourself, you can stop and ask yourself, what's causing me to react or feel this way? Because it's always something in you that's causing you to react. And so using this process of FARCing helps you become aware of what that is. So as an example, let's say, you know, making phone calls to schedule wine tasting events is not your favorite thing to do. And so if you kind of introduce this process of focusing on, I know I've got to book more tasting events, and so I'm aware of the fact that I don't enjoy getting on the phone to make those phone calls. And so if you're aware of that, what are the things maybe that you do when you sit down at your desk to work? Maybe you start getting on Facebook, or maybe you go into your back office and start looking at reports. Maybe you're downloading shareables, or, you know, spending time in VU University, or putting together cute invitations or something like that. Become aware of whatever that behavior is that you kind of fall back into those patterns of getting busy, potentially doing something else instead of the thing that you actually need to change and the thing that you actually need to focus on, and the thing that you need to do, which is actually being organized, having a list in front of you and knowing who you want to call. So the next thing is, once we have focused in on what we want to change and we're aware of kind of the behaviors or the fears or the concerns that sort of prevent us from making that change, the next thing that we can focus on with adopting new behavior is repetition. That's where the R comes in. So to repeat new behaviors for at least 2 months is really a good idea, so that we can rewire and kind of retrain our brains. So as you're thinking about your goals and what you want to change in order to help you get there, always remember in the back of your mind that consistency really is the key. And through all of this repetition, your new approach, pretty soon it's going to become your norm and it'll become second nature for you. So learning, growing, and developing and challenging yourself to do new things is kind of gets outside of our comfort zone. So you're going to have to practice barking a lot. And once you get really good at it, the next thing that you're going to want to do is be sure to celebrate your success. And that's where the C comes in. So any small celebration that helps our brains really acknowledge the change that we just made is fantastic. And we really need that reinforcement and that encouragement, that little ta-da moment, to kind of connect all the dots together and reward yourself for making that change. In fact, you could even make that sort of your generic celebration. Every time you do something, if you know that you want to sit down and make 10 or 20 booking calls, and you sit down and you do it, stand up from your desk and give yourself a ta-da. Whatever it is, post something on Facebook maybe, or we always talk about, you can do like a deprivation challenge for yourself of like, I'm not going to watch my favorite show on TV that I DVR'd from last night until I get done doing this task that I really need to get done for my business. So that's one thing that you could do, is kind of withholding something that you enjoy or that you really love until you reach your goal or you accomplish your task. Or there's also the reward. So do you like the carrot or the stick, basically? So what's the carrot? Once I get done doing this, I'm going to go out and buy myself a new pair of shoes, or I'm going to go grab a cappuccino from Starbucks, whatever it is, to reward yourself. But it's really important to celebrate when you do make a change and you are successful in completing that task. And I think we're really good just in general with supporting each other, certainly through our social community of rewarding and celebrating the big milestones and the big things that we accomplish. But it's important along the way with the day-to-day little things that we all have to kind of dig in and do. It's important to celebrate those things for ourselves as well. So as I mentioned earlier, most of our habits and our patterns are ruled unconsciously by our fears. And typically there are 3 kind of big ones that most of us, kind of have to deal with and encounter. And again, focusing on that and being aware of it can help you figure out strategies and ways to overcome it and to make changes. So the first one is that we're not good enough, or maybe we don't deserve success. And I love the quote, "Comparison is the thief of joy." It's easy, I think, sometimes for us to look at the accomplishments and the achievements of other people and think, oh, I couldn't do that. I'm happy for her, but or him, but I don't deserve, to have that kind of accomplishment. And sometimes super successful people deep down inside actually don't believe that they're good enough. And they spend their entire lives, both, in their personal and professional life, trying to prove to others that they're good enough, but they don't ever truly believe that in themselves. So that's the first thing, is retrain your brain, use this method of farking, and, convince yourself, because you deserve to be happy and you deserve to be successful. And so don't feel guilty for reaching your goals. You should celebrate that. The second one is, what will other people think about me? This is a really tough one for a lot of us to overcome. And so here's some honest truth. It's really not our business what other people think of us, because it's not anything that we can control. So we just have to let it go. And this is really hard for a lot of us to be able to do. But if you ever catch yourself in that cycle of, being afraid of picking up the phone and calling somebody, or reaching out, or sharing something on social media, or saying something at a tasting event, if you catch yourself thinking, being afraid of what people will think of you, hopefully this acronym of farking will help you get over that very quickly, and focusing and being aware of the fact that it's out of your control. So don't waste your time worrying about it. It's kind of like drinking poison and hoping that the other person dies. You can't do anything to control it. So don't let it eat it up. Don't let it consume you. Just fark that one away. Here's another really, the third biggest one is the fear of failure. Like I said, oftentimes it's the start that stops us. And we're afraid to actually put it out there because what if we fail? So what if we let our friends and our family and everybody in our community on social media know that we're going for a big promotion, or we're trying to earn a trip, or there's a big goal that we're trying to achieve? Do you ever sit there before sharing that or talking about it and have this little fear that bubbles up inside of you of, well, what if I fail? Then I'm going to have to explain to all these people why I actually didn't achieve my goal. And I've loved seeing everybody posting the pictures with their commitment cards from Director Day. And I know people now that weren't at Crush are downloading that from VAU and using it as well. We really can talk ourselves out of doing a lot of things because we are afraid that we're going to fail. But when we can also talk ourselves out of a lot of success. So if we focus on the potential for failure instead, and we all know failures are just a part of life. So if you don't fail, we never learn. And if you don't learn, we'll never change. And so, if you look at a lot of sports figures, they always talk about, they've lost a heck of a lot more than they've won. John Elway, he's lost a heck of a lot more than he won. It's those critical, crucial, big moments where you do win and you do have a success that people focus on and get really excited about. But there's a lot of failure that led up to success. And so that's okay. So we've got to get comfortable with, maybe we're not going to achieve everything that we set out to 100%, but if we focus on the potential for success instead of the potential for failure, already we're approaching it in the right mindset, and we've got a much better chance of succeeding. So what is the story that you tell yourself inside your own brain? Is it a factual story that you're kind of convincing yourself, or is it a fictional story? Is it a fairy tale? I think you can use this concept of farking to kind of find that inner strength that you have, your inner sparkle, if you will, going back to Crush, and figuring out how to focus, have attention and awareness on what you want to change, and then repeat that so that then you can celebrate your success. And I think that this concept for me I'm going to unshare my screen here. Hang on. And figure out how to do it, how to get back to you guys. Screen sharing has stopped. Can you see me now and not my screen? Yeah, okay. So I think kind of this concept, when I was introduced to it, it's you can get really introspective and you can kind of get pretty deep with yourself. And I think that it's something for me personally has helped me in my personal life, but I think when you apply it to business as well, a lot of those little things in your personal life carry over to our behaviors and the way that we approach our business, the way that we think about our business. Let's face it and be honest, in general, there still is a lot of distrust potentially from the general public when it comes to direct selling opportunities. Like, is this thing that she's doing really legit? And it's not really legal for me to buy wine from somebody, and it's not really legal for me to be hosting all these people at my house. Or are they really going to send a check to, a nonprofit? Are they really going to let me raise money for a cause that I care about? There's all of these things that people have, fears or mistrust that we can kind of let that sink into a little bit of what we do on a daily basis, and I think hold us back. But I think that if you guys know, those of you that have been here and have been successful, and I'm staring at Jess's face. I don't know why it's just only showing me Jess. Hey, Jess. This is real, and this is something that's making an impact in your lives, and you're helping make an impact in other people's lives as well. And so don't let those fears, you might even have people in your family that were kind of concerned, and those those concerns might have been based on one of those 3 fears. So don't talk yourself into buying into that. I think if you can use that concept of farking, it's kind of fun and it's funny and easy to remember, I think. Try to retrain your brain if you can to use that process and that concept anytime that you're feeling stuck or you don't know where to start, or you've got a big goal that you want to achieve and you're not sure if, you know, kind of your way of doing business and operating is going to get you there. Take a step back and really look introspectively at, you know, what am I really good at in my business, and what are the things where maybe I feel like I fall a little bit short and I'd like to do a better job of. Definitely reach out to your upline mentor, tap into Kathy, Sabrina, Erin, and myself for training. We've got tons of resources and everything for you. But take time also to look introspectively and really figure out, where do you potentially stop yourself before you even get started, because those fears are kind of holding you back from doing the things you need to do on a daily and a weekly basis to make a change, make an impact, and get the results that you guys want. So I'm going to stop talking for a second. And if you guys want to unmute, or Sabrina, I don't know if you can unmute everybody or if you did it yourselves. And I'd love to hear from you guys, kind of your thoughts on that, or if anybody wants to share, if there's something that kind of a light bulb went off for you as we were talking about this, that maybe you identified that, yep, this is something I really want to focus on making a change so I can reach a higher goal for myself.
I just unmuted all. So,
anybody want to share?
I'll share.
Awesome.
My light bulb moment was when you said that your habits are ruled by fear. I have all 3 of them. And it's what gets constantly in the way. But if you're aware of it, it makes it easier to kind of get back to kind of force yourself to look past it and break away from the habits that you get into. So thank you.
Yeah, Alina, I think that's a really good point. Kind of when I was looking at it, I think that's probably, thank you first of all for being vulnerable and honest, because I could say the same thing. I've got all 3 of those in varying degrees, and some of them are stronger, you know, for me than others. And I think, you know, if we all take a step back, think about people that we interact with in our families and in business, most people have, you know, a little bit of all 3 of those within them. So, you know, it's good to acknowledge it and recognize it, and don't beat yourself up over it, because I think when you focus all of your energy and attention on kind of running away from failure, that's what you're doing. You're thinking about failure all the time. So if you can kind of switch it and focus on running towards success instead of running away from failure, your mindset is always focused on forward, moving forward to find success. It'll really impact all of the little things, the tasks and the things that you do on a daily basis, I think, in your business.
It's funny because it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy in that it's like the circle that goes on in your head, and you need to break it to kind of get through that.
Right.
So.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Alina. Anybody else want to share any thoughts?
I think my biggest fear is picking up the phone and actually voice-to-voice conversating with people. For some reason, I feel more vulnerable that way, and I'm not sure why, because when I do pick up the phone and talk to people, everybody's usually pretty receptive, even if it's a no. People are polite and they're kind, and so that's a hump I have to really get over, is just picking up the phone and dialing.
When you're done, I
back on Facebook.
you.
Kim, do you have kind of a game plan in place, like weekly, of how many phone calls you want to make, or do you have like focused time to really, like, you know, kind of lock yourself up in a room and get on the phone and have your list ready to roll?
Yeah, I do actually. I have 3 mornings a week that I don't have my kids. So Monday morning's my phone call day. Wednesday is my follow-up day, and Friday is my thank you day. So okay. I send out thank yous and all that on Friday, and reach out to people I haven't heard back from on Wednesday, and then Monday is my let's do it. That's my scary day.
Well, do you find yourself doing things to sort of like put that off and procrastinate and avoid picking up the phone?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I find for me, if I put some good music on that gets me jazzed, it's way easier because it just gets me in that happy kind of space, and then I can pick up the phone easier. But if I think about it too much and I get in my head, it's bad. It's bad. Yeah.
Well, put on your Sparkly Bits headband and get in the right, like, you know, frame of mind to be able to pick up the phone and make those, oh, Tracy's got hers, make your phone calls. I think that's probably one of the biggies for most people is you've got your list, you're excited about a promotion that you want to share or, you know, recruiting special or whatever the case may be, but then it's like that phone weighs 100 pounds to actually pick it up and make a phone call.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to share? No? Well, if you find yourself kind of in that boat and you're having that moment, like literally stop yourself and say, Park, and take a second and think about what you want to do to change. So it's not a big scary thing. It becomes a really fun way to challenge yourself and approaching it from a little bit different perspective. So you don't have that anxiety kind of that starts to build up when you're getting ready to do something that's scary or maybe that's outside of your comfort zone or pushes you a little bit. Oh my gosh, I'm loving the kiddos. Sabrina or Kathy, anything that you guys want to add or share?
Well, you know, my first crush with 200 and something people being under a microscope, I had to say "fark" it a couple times because I was a nervous wreck. You know, it's unnerving because you don't know a lot of people that, you know, I mean, you see them, but you don't know everyone. And, you know, that was very scary, you know, for me. And, you know, Katie and Sabrina were awesome. They would just be like, it's okay, it's no big deal, you know, but it was. So now that that's done, I'm ready, you know, to come back. But it was scary. It was, you know, putting myself in a very scary situation. And but we made it through it, right? So, and we had a blast. So.
Well, and I think too, Kathy, thanks for sharing that, because I think that you guys all know too, like we've all been in situations in our lives where we are like scared to death to go do something that we want to do, we're excited about, but we also have a lot of fear wrapped up in that. And we're a pretty, you know, touchy-feely company. Like we really get in touch with each other and care about who we are as people and what drives us, what our why is, what motivates us. And we all genuinely care about each other and want to see each other succeed. And so, you know, I think that over the last year or so, you guys have seen us get really, really vulnerable with you all as a community. And really, it's important for us, for you guys to understand who we are as people and human beings, because at the end of the day, we're all human beings. And when you're vulnerable with people and honest with people, it's so much more comfortable, really. And you've got a much better chance for succeeding because you've got people rooting for you versus trying to, like, you know, allowing those fears to control you and like trying to put on the perfect face and the perfect presentation. And somebody posted in Facebook, I think it was Tiffany Salisbury shared a really great story about being concerned about having a perfect presentation. And of course, she was so focused on trying to do everything perfectly, she sprayed, you know, sparkling brew all over herself and her hostess to start the event. And so that kind of like broke the tension and broke the ice. And I think, you know, she let her guard down and just was herself and had an amazing experience. So if you can kind of remember that, you know, let yourself off the hook and don't put so much pressure on yourself to be perfect, know all the answers, you know, people are going to relate to you much more naturally and much more easily. And success will come a lot easier for you when you are real with others. Sabrina, any thoughts you want to share?
Well, jumping into this new position, I wrote down FARC because I feel like I need to concentrate on these items. I need to focus. I need to be aware. I need to repeat. This is a totally new position for me. You know, 8.5 years in customer support, now jumping into training. I'm definitely going to write this down and take this into my everyday life, because I feel like jumping into the training position, I'm going to be on the phone a lot, and also from Crush, just like Kathy, speaking in front of everyone was very far outside of my comfort zone. I'm very good on a phone call one-on-one, and training one person at a time, but training 215 CEOs at once, or talking to 215 CEOs at once, took a lot of awareness and focus. And Kathy and Katie and Aaron, they definitely took me aside and made sure that I was prepared and everything, but it was amazing. I feel so much better. I feel like next year's Crush and all the trainings coming up in the coming months are just going to be that much easier, because I got over my fear and I just, ran with it.
You said fark it.
I said fark it.
Fark it. Well,
Let's do this.
What's been really interesting to me is that, from the place that I was before, I knew everybody personally, and coming in here, I don't know anyone personally. So it was like, so it's easier when you know people personally. And so now I'm so glad that I was able to build some relationships with you guys there. Not everybody, I didn't get to everyone, but it makes it easier when you're, building those relationships with people, and it's not as intimidating either. So,
Awesome. Cool. Well, hopefully you guys, this will be helpful for you as we're trying to earn points for Puerto Vallarta. Whoever that was, somebody, or maybe not. I don't know what that was. Hopefully this will be helpful for you, not only for that, but just in general when you sit down doing the day-to-day and focusing on what you want to achieve in your business. And, we all know we're not going to hit every single goal that we put out there for ourselves, but don't let that fear of failure, I think, hold you back from putting yourself out there, because there's a lot of people that, have promoted to director, senior director, executive director, or earn a trip to Cancun with us this year, or earn their Fast Start Award, that they kind of in the beginning said, I never thought that it was actually possible. Or people that walked the stage, at Crush this year and picked up awards have said, oh my gosh. It's funny, actually, Saturday night after the award ceremony, two people said to me specifically, kind of things that were based around those 3 fears that we talked about. It's always there front of mind for every single one of us. So when you recognize it, it's there, recognize it and use this kind of concept of farking it away to kind of retrain your brain and focus on the success that you want to run towards instead of running away from that failure that you want to avoid. So I loved being able to hop on with you guys for Monday Mojo. I'm going to start joining you more frequently so I can see all your pretty faces and chat with you guys and brainstorm and share ideas and tips and everything, and learn from each other and get fired up for the week. So happy Monday.
Happy month end. Oh my gosh.
I have one question for, speaking of points and going, recruiting, etc. Is the $20 flat rate that we have for our Case for Causes now the same thing for our starter kits too? Because before it was depending upon where you were located. Is it $20 flat rate for the starter kits now?
It's 10.
It's 10.
10.
It's 10.
We'll double check on it, Alina, and then just pop a note on the leaders page just to confirm.
That it's 10, not 20.
We'll confirm and post for you.
Okay. Thanks.
I know somebody in talking about pricing, I know somebody posted this weekend too. It seemed like there was a pricing discrepancy with the gift set with the necklace, the Hope necklace. And so I'm sure that was probably just an error.
Yes, that was an error. Caitlin's already reached out to our team to get that updated on the One Hope Wine website. The $79 is the correct pricing for that. So we're updating that on the One Hope Wine website.
And if you guys catch little glitches or things like that, definitely write it to the board. because if you see something like that, it's obviously a typo or something that we've missed. Definitely write into support so we can fix it. And then one last thing I'll share with you guys too is we're super excited. Our warehouse in Orange County is actually relocating this week to a bigger warehouse space because we barely made it through holiday last year in the size of the space that we had, and there's no way we could do it this year. So preemptively getting ready to rock and roll for the back half of the year. We're moving, but your shipments and everything should not be affected at all. We're set up so that we can continue to ship out as normal. But if for some reason it feels like maybe response times might be a little bit delayed with support, or you can't quite get in touch with Sabrina or someone else in home office, it may be because we are moving warehouses this week, which is a pretty big undertaking to move all that stuff. But we should be settled in what, Sabrina, 5 days or so, you think?
Yeah, moving starts tomorrow and should be completed so that Monday we're fully functioning. At least our warehouse is fully functioning in the new office. But shipments will not be delayed. We'll still promise the 2 business day processing time. So no worries there. We're moving ahead. No delays. And yeah, if home office is a little slow to respond, just let us, give us a little time. But we'll definitely reply as soon as we can.
Do we have an ETA on the Froze gift set?
No, we don't, not yet, but we'll definitely let you guys know when we do.
It's really tricky, and we're getting into planning, our upcoming catalogs. It's really tricky because with every single gift set that we do, we work with a different manufacturer. So for instance, the Wolf gift set, we get the dog treats and the toys from different manufacturers. With the Froze gift set with the cup, we get that from a different manufacturer. So each gift set, it's all different vendors that we work with that all operate on different timelines. And so it gets really tricky for us to try to make it all come together so that it's all in the warehouse at the same time to launch. So we apologize. I know it's frustrating, especially because Froze is so hot right now and it's summer and Frozes are amazing. But yeah, we'll let you know as soon as that hits the warehouse. Any other questions out there?
I have a question.
Hey, Marla.
Hi. Do we know what the sign-up special will be for August for new recruits?
I was waiting for that question.
I've already had a
waiting.
I've already had a text first thing this morning. You guys are funny.
It will be announced in your Vine tomorrow morning. So
Okay.
Well, we know that.
it's only Monday. I'm not feeling for some reason, I don't know. I'm going to hold on to this one.
Oh,
I'm out
my
tomorrow.
dad used to always tell me I have no delayed gratification whatsoever. And this proves it. Like, I want to know now.
Think how excited you're going to be when you wake up tomorrow morning because you've closed out a great month in July, and you've got something to look forward to that it's a surprise that you don't know what it's going to be. So
okay, Dad. Okay.
Just
Awesome.
start making those lists. I would make those lists today.
Oh, I already have them. I
Yeah.
already got them all emailed, ready to go. There.
Get that list made so you
yeah.
can just start your reach outs tomorrow for sure.
One thing I will share, here's what you'll get out of me today. Everybody, we will be making the starter kits available for current CEOs to purchase so that you guys can have that experience. And so it's going to be set up just as a product in your back office so that you don't actually go through the sign-up process. It'll just be set up as a SKU in your back office so that you guys can order that for yourselves and experience what a new CEO is experiencing when they get their starter kits. So if you do order one for yourself, make sure you take lots of pictures because you can use that to promote your business and promote recruiting for yourself and share it on Facebook and Instagram and all that good stuff. So if you order one, make sure you take advantage of sharing that with everybody. So hopefully that's good news for you guys.
Yes, thank you.
How much?
It'll be the same price.
Okay.
Yep, same price. Do we know what reserves will be in the new starter kits yet? I don't know that we are publishing necessarily what the reserves are going to be, just because with inventory and going out of stock on things, we want to try to like not have to continuously update all of our printed materials by specifically naming the reserves. And we also want to keep it kind of seasonal too. So, you know, the tail end of summer here in August and September, we might include more white wines into our reserves, and then as we get into the, you know, the fall and the winter, switch it up and do more reds. Cool. All right. Well, good to see everybody. Have a great closeout end of the month today. Hopefully you'll get some last minute orders. And if you've got people that are going for promotions today, it's a big day. So fingers crossed, we're rooting for every single one of you, and excited to wake up tomorrow with a brand new month and a brand new sign up special and new sparkling wines that are launching tomorrow. So definitely tons to look forward to. Have a great week, you guys.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.